If you feel like you are working harder than your parents, yet living in a smaller space, carrying a bigger debt, you are not imagining it. You are not lazy. And it is not the lattes. The British dream, that quiet promise that a decent job buys a decent home, was not stolen from you in one dramatic robbery. It was dismantled slowly. A series of quiet mathematical decisions made before you were even born, decisions you never voted for, decisions nobody sat you down and explained. So this morning, let's actually explain them, because once you see the machine, you stop blaming yourself for it. Start with a field, a plain green field, somewhere in the home counties, as farmland. That field might be worth £1,000 an acre. But the moment permission is granted to build a house on it, that exact same soil can be worth £1 million. Nothing about the land changed. No new road, not a single brick. What changed was permission, and permission, in Britain, is rationed. That rationing has a birthday. 1947, the Town and Country Planning Act, a well-meaning law that decided the state, not the landowner, would control what got built and where. Layered on top of it came the Green Belt, a protective ring that now restricts development on over 12% of England's land. This is scarcity by design. We did not run out of space, we chose to lock it away. Now, picture the property market as a castle. For 40 years, the drawbridge was down. People simply walked in, settled comfortably, and paid roughly 3 times their salary for the privilege. But as the castle filled up, the people already inside, the NIMBYs, the ones who suddenly had something to protect, began quietly turning the gears. Every block development, every objection raised at the local planning meeting, every knot in my back garden, each one lifted that bridge another inch. By 2026, the drawbridge is almost fully raised, and here you are, standing at the edge of the moat, shouting your salary at the walls. But the gears no longer respond to income. They only move for those who already hold a key. Let's put numbers to that moat. In the 1970s, the average British home cost around 3 times the median salary. One earner, a few years of saving, a mortgage that felt survivable. Now fast forward to 2026. Nationally, a home costs over 8 times the median salary, and in London, more than 12 times. Read that again. Your grandparents needed roughly 3 years of gross income to buy a home. You need 12. The finish line did not move a little further away. It moved into an entirely different postcode. But rates were higher back then, someone always says. True. And that is exactly the trap. For roughly 40 years, interest rates fell, a long, steady decline that finally ended around 2021. Falling rates feel like a gift. Cheaper borrowing, lower monthly payments. But here is the cruel mechanic almost nobody explains. When money gets cheaper, it does not make houses cheaper. It makes them more expensive. Think of it as a balloon. If every buyer in the room can suddenly borrow £500,000 instead of £300,000, the £300,000 house does not politely stay at £300,000. It inflates to meet the money. The bricks are identical. The kitchen is the same tired kitchen, but the price balloons to absorb every extra pound the bank is willing to lend. So 4 decades of cheap money did not build you a better home. It simply made the same home cost more and quietly handed the difference to whoever already owned it. And who owned it? Increasingly, the generation before you. Not as shelter, as strategy. Somewhere in the last 30 years, the British home quietly stopped being a place to live and became a place to store wealth. Economists call this the financialization of housing. As traditional pensions grew shakier and less certain, an entire generation decided that bricks felt safer than any pension pot, so they bought second homes, third homes, whole buy-to-let portfolios. Your future front door became somebody else's retirement fund. And every extra buyer, treating housing as an asset, threw one more player into a game that was already dangerously overcrowded. Which brings us to the cruelest game of all. Imagine musical chairs, but rigged. There are around 60 million people in the room, and only 25 million chairs. The music, the economy, keeps playing, but every 10 years or so, the government quietly removes a chair while ushering in more players. And a lucky few, the bank of mum and dad, are allowed to bring their own chairs from home. So, when the music stops, they are already seated, comfortable, watching. If all you brought to this game is your salary, understand something clearly. You are not losing because you are slow. You are playing a game that was designed, mathematically, for you to lose. Now, you would think the market might fix itself. Retirees rattling around in 5-bedroom houses would downsize, freeing up family homes for the next generation. The ladder would keep turning, except it doesn't, because in Britain, moving carries a punishment. Stamp duty. Trade up. An HMRC takes a slice so heavy it can swallow £30,000 in pure tax friction. So the widow in the 5-bedroom house does the arithmetic and simply stays. Not out of greed, out of maths. This is the success tax. We built a ladder, then charged people a small fortune every single time they tried to climb it, and then act astonished when everyone freezes solidly on their rung. And this is the quiet horror that hits you the moment you refresh the property portal on any quiet morning. You do the sums, you stretch the budget until it groans. You finally reach for the next rung, and you realize the rungs themselves are made of glass. They look perfectly solid from below. They shatter the instant you put your full weight on them. There is one more tax nobody ever names on the news: geography. Britain built almost its entire modern economy around a single city. The best salaries, the biggest opportunities, the fastest careers, they cluster in and around London. So the young and the ambitious are pulled south, straight into the most expensive housing on the island. Chase the career, and you pay the geography tax in rent and price. Stay north, where homes are genuinely affordable, and you may quietly sacrifice the very income that made you ambitious in the first place. It is a chasm, and you are asked to leap it with a mortgage strapped to your back. So what actually works? Now, the first step is grieving the old advice, because the old advice is dead. Study hard, get a good job, buy a house. That was salary-based thinking. And salary-based thinking was built for a world where homes cost 3 times your income, not 8, not 12. In 2026, the people quietly winning have switched to asset-based thinking. They stopped asking, how much can I earn? And started asking, how much can I own? Because your salary is taxed the very moment you earn it, and then inflated away while it sits in a savings account. Assets, compounding quietly in the background, play by an entirely different set of rules. So let this land gently. Being priced out is not a character flaw. It is not laziness. It is not avocado toast. It is a systemic outcome, the predictable result of scarcity by design, 4 decades of cheap money, and a market that turned ordinary homes into pension pots. You did not fail the test. The test was rigged before you ever sat down at the desk. But here is the strange freedom hidden inside, understanding the machine. Once you stop screaming your salary at the castle walls, you can stop trying to scale them at all, and start building something the drawbridge simply cannot be raised against. A mathematical fortress of your own, tax-efficient wrappers like the ISA, a SIP quietly compounding for a retirement no landlord controls. Global assets that do not care which postcode you happen to be born into. Ownership, working silently in the background, entirely on your terms. The castle was never the only way to be wealthy. It was just the only door they ever bothered to show you. In 2026, the smart money stopped queuing at the moat and started building somewhere the gears can never reach. If this video helped you, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.